네, 교육은 100년제 대계다라는 말이 있습니다. 이 미래 세대 양성이 곧 미래에 대한 투자가 아닐까 싶은데요. 오늘은 디지털 교육 분야에서 최대 글로벌 투자 플랫폼을 꾸리고 있는 글로벌 실리콘밸리 벤처스, GSV 벤처스의 CEO와 만나보려고 합니다. 글로벌 마켓 더 CEO, 오늘 만나볼 분은 GSV 벤처스의 마이클 모 회장님입니다. Thank you so much for being here today. It's really nice to meet you.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
So, would you please say hello to our viewers?
Hello, it's great to be with you.
Okay, to begin with, I want you to introduce your company, GSV Holdings, to Korean investors.
Sure. So GSV is an investment firm based in Silicon Valley that stands for Global Silicon Valley. So when we started GSV over 10 years ago, really part of our philosophy was that we felt that the mindset of innovation and entrepreneurship that's made Silicon Valley such a remarkable place was going to spread throughout the world. And we wanted to connect Silicon Valley to this emerging global Silicon Valley. And importantly with that, to invest in the most dynamic, most innovative firms in the world. And so that's what we started 10 years ago, and we've been building the firm ever since.
Okay, I've heard GSV Holdings is intensively investing in education and work for technology markets. So it seems you have lots of interest in human resources. So why are these human resources important in terms of investment?
Well, when you think about the biggest investment opportunities is where there's a problem. The bigger the problem, the greater the opportunity. In a global marketplace, a knowledge-based economy, where what you know makes a difference not only for an individual, but for a company and for that matter, a country, we don't think there's any bigger opportunity from an investment opportunity standpoint than investing in education and human capital. And so while my background has been involved in dynamic growth businesses, we invested in Facebook and Twitter and Spotify and Dropbox and so forth, we really started to concentrate on the education sector half a dozen years ago because we saw this market really exploding in terms of opportunity.
Mm-hmm. And what are the appealing points of the education technology venture market? Is there any characteristic of this market?
Well, there's a number of characteristics. The one analogy that I make to education technology is to healthcare maybe 20 or 30 years ago. Because in both, it's a human essential service that people ask the question not only can you make money, but should you make money? Mm-hmm. And not historically, it was not necessarily thought of an investment category. What's happened, education, has grown to be over a $7 trillion marketplace globally. Mm-hmm. So it's nearly 10% of global GDP. And education technology, what is so important about it, it has an opportunity to democratize learning, increasing access, lowering the cost, and improving the quality. And so that's really what has got me, very excited about the category. You're starting to see, scale solutions come into the marketplace in a very impressive way. I call those weapons of mass instruction. There's these businesses that are able to reach millions and tens of millions of students, through mobile devices and the internet. Mm-hmm. So there's a number of different things going on, but I think at the very fundamental level, what's exciting is that it has the opportunity to give everybody an opportunity to participate in the future, because education really is the base of that in terms of what the foundation of how you get to participate in the future.
Mm-hmm. And listening to your answer, I think you have some interest in ESG also. Do we have any ESG strategies?
Well, we started talking about what we called ROE, return on education, before ESG was even a concept. Meaning that we felt that if we helped people learn or help them with their lot in life, with their success, our investment returns would take care of itself. In fact, we felt the more we help people, the more that would come back to us in terms of returns. Mm-hmm. So I wrote a book last spring with a friend of mine, Michael Carter, called Mission Corporation. And Mission Corporation is really along the lines of ESG, which is we believe that the best businesses of the future are going to have the ambition of a for-profit company with the heart of a not-for-profit company. So really combining purpose and profits together that really create these exceptional businesses. So that's a huge focus of ours. And education, of course, is totally aligned with that philosophy.
Okay. And also, I want to talk about the pandemic issue. So it has been a pandemic situation for 3 years, and I think there must be some effects of the pandemic on the education market. What has been changed?
Well, it's been dramatic. So in digital learning, it's been a market that has grown at a nice rate, impressive rate, really for the last decade or more. But what the pandemic did is, instantly in March of 2020, you had 1.6 billion students that were instantly put online. So essentially that's 20% of the world's population that was thrown in the deep end of the online learning pool and told to sink or swim. Some sank, some crawled to the edge of the pool, got out, so they're never going back in. But many flailed around a little bit and sort of got the hang of it. And you saw this dramatic acceleration go on in digital learning. So effectively, we thought the digital learning market was going to be $1 trillion market by 2035. We now believe it will be a $1 trillion market by 2027. So the future dramatically accelerated to the present. So I say it's so dramatic that you had BC before Corona, and now you have AD after the disease. And those are the businesses in digital learning that are just growing very, very quickly. And I think there's still tremendous opportunity to increase the effectiveness in terms of what it's able to do for students.
Okay. And specifically, among lots of edutech startups, where are you investing in currently, or where do you have an interest in?
So there's a number of themes that we've focused on, and we've been very fortunate. So of the 51 unicorns in the education technology space, we've invested in 17 of them. So we've been very fortunate to have a very significant share of these companies that have grown to be valuable quickly. Some of the themes that I think are the most important, one I call it knowledge as a currency. So it used to be that the diploma was the currency that you used to get a ticket to future opportunity. It's not that the diploma is going to go away, but it's going to be augmented by other ways that people are able to represent their knowledge, their capabilities, their skills, what they can contribute to an organization. And so that's being facilitated in part by AI, but it's also an important way that it's going to broaden the way that people get exposure through knowledge that they're able to acquire that may or may not have a degree attached to it. Another key theme that we have is, I call it Hollywood meets Harvard. And what does that mean? That means you can't learn anything unless you're engaged. And it's what Hollywood does a great job of is engaging its audience, telling stories, making stars out of actors, and creating high quality but low cost through scale. So that's a theme that I think is going to be really important going forward. We're an investor in a company called Masterclass, for example, that's done very well with this Hollywood meets Harvard theme. Another theme that's sort of related, I call it invisible learning. And that's learning without even really recognizing that's what you're doing. So games is a good example of that. VR, AR, these are all ways that people are going to be acquiring knowledge in the future in a way that is really compelling. So it's not just drilling you with math problems and so forth. It's you're learning doing something that you're already enjoying. And I think that's, again, an interesting or important area of opportunity. Another theme that we love, going back to AI, I call it RoboEd. And that's integrating artificial intelligence with your learning process. So being able to create literally individualized learning experiences, every single click is becoming more tailored to where I'm at as a learner, accelerating me where I'm proficient, going back where where I don't know the materials, and also delivering the way that I'm going to learn best. For example, we're an investor in a company called Photomath. Photomath is the student takes a picture of your math problem and instantly comes back with not only the answer, but the solution to how you get there. And if you need additional help, you get your own personal AI tutor that is available to you at very, very low cost. So that's another example of a theme that we think is part of the future. And I guess I'll list just one more, and I call it autonomous learning. And this is the idea that you're learning on a real-time basis. So, historically you had what I call just-in-case learning. So you took a class and learned materials that someday, some way you might actually be able to apply it. Well, now you have just-in-time learning facilitated through autonomous learning. So I'm learning what I need to know at the very moment I need to know it. So that's another area that you're seeing significant growth and opportunity in. So those are some examples of themes that we're focused on.
It's really interesting.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, you know, and again, back to your ESG comment, and in one, it's you're seeing tremendous innovation going on, but what's so important is it's providing tens of millions of students getting access to this education they desperately need
Definitely.
to be successful, and so that's really, you know, really rewarding.
It's really meaningful. And also, I've heard that the event you're planning, so I want to know more about that. What kind of event is the ASU plus GSV Summit?
So ASU is Arizona State University, which is the largest university in the United States. It's also, for the last 7 years in a row, been rated the most innovative university in the United States. Stanford #2, MIT #3. So ASU has really made a name for themselves being innovative in the education world. And so we partnered with them a dozen years ago, hosting this event with the goal was to get these different people, constituents together that all cared about learning, you know, accelerating innovation and learning, but wouldn't necessarily be in the same room together. And so we put this, I call it, strange cocktail mix together. And that event has grown. So now, you know, we have over 5,500 people that come from 65 countries from around the world. 800 education technology companies present at it. Forbes called it the Davos of education. The New York Times calls it the most attended EdTech conference in the world. And so we feel very proud about what we've been able to accomplish, but not so much just because we're able to talk about interesting things, but what's happened together in terms of connectivity and accelerating these important ideas has been very, very magical. And we feel like it's been an important part of the growth of this sector.
So it has been going on for 12 years since 2010. And what changes has the event made to EdTech market?
Well, a few things. So if you look at the venture capital that's come in the EdTech market, in 2010, globally, it was $500 million, which we thought was a big deal at the time because that was probably more than all the venture capital that had ever been invested in EdTech up to that date. Well, in 2021, it was over $20 billion. So you've seen a 400x increase just in the last 12 years. And not that the event was the reason why that increase has happened, but it's been a major catalyst to really bring investors together with entrepreneurs, with other stakeholders, whether it's government leaders or corporate leaders, all coming together to really create and accelerate these opportunities. And from that, we've been fortunate that we've had tremendous speakers that have come to this event because it's the place where things happen in education. So we've had Bill Gates, we've had President Bush, we've had President Obama, we've had Tony Blair, we've had Condoleezza Rice, we've had Richard Branson, and on and on. And and it's very humbling for me because they're all there because they feel like it's an important place for society and really how we make important ideas happen for the world.
Okay, so I've heard that the event is about to be held. So do you have any plans to hold it in the Asian or Korean market?
So before the pandemic, we had partnered with TAL and New Oriental and Tsinghua University and Tencent, and we had 3 events in Beijing before the pandemic. I think as we think about as we come out of this, we completely believe Asia is a critical place for us to have a physical presence. Korea is obviously a really, really compelling market. I mean, the emphasis on education, it's the number one education market really in the world in terms of the value that the Koreans put on education. And you're seeing this entrepreneurial community here really develop in a major way. So I think that looking at as a putting a flag in Asia, I mean, Korea, Seoul could be a perfect place to do that. I mean, both to access not only Korea, but China, Japan, Indonesia, really Southeast Asia. So no, we're really excited about it. It's one of the reasons I'm here to really understand this marketplace better.
So I think your interest in Korean market seems to be quite high. So what is the significance of Korean market in terms of EdTech market?
Well, as an EdTech company anywhere in the world, Korea is a vital market for a variety of reasons. One, as a country, there's no country in the world that values education more highly than the Korean society. And so as a sophisticated consumer of ed tech, there's nobody better than Korea. So both from a credibility standpoint, as well as there's an awful lot of money that is spent on supplementary education in Korea. So it's a critical market if you're an ed tech entrepreneur to be able to be connected here. And I think, again, that credibility that comes with being adopted by the Korean market is huge. Additionally, it really is a place that can be a great window to the rest of Asia. Asia demographically and also from an education standpoint is just incredibly attractive. So all that, the roads all come to Seoul, and it really is a place that I think can be really, really exciting as a hub for innovation ed tech for the world, looking ahead.
Okay, so is there any specific Korean edutech startup you're interested in?
There's a number. We're really trying to learn this marketplace. We're meeting with some interesting companies here over the next few days. But we're really today just trying to create, what does this landscape look like? Who are the great entrepreneurs? What are the great ideas? Classroom's a company that we're seeing tomorrow, which is quite interesting and is being able to expand globally. But this is a learning trip for me.
Okay. So lastly, what expectations do you have for a Korean market in the future?
Well, I have quite high expectations, but I'm really learning the landscape as we speak. It's very clear that Korea has tremendous momentum to it as a country. It's a very successful country. It's a very leaning forward country, and it's positioned geographically very attractively in terms of where the world's going. And then you couple that with the emphasis on education, which is really our core focus. And it's just extremely exciting to me to think of what the next 10, 20 years can look like with Korea being really at the hub of a lot of very exciting things in the ed tech world.
Okay. Do you have any last comments to the viewers?
I think that as we look ahead, I do believe that the fundamental right for every person to have an equal opportunity to participate in the future is a key way that we move the world ahead. And at the foundation of that is access to quality education. And education technology done right can make a huge difference for how we accomplish that key goal. So it takes a village of people together. We need great entrepreneurs. We need capital sources. We need a government and business that all want to come together to make change. But that's I think the opportunity.
네, 이제는 교육도 미래지향적인 기술과 접목하는 시대인 것 같습니다. 이 에듀테크 시장이 어떤 모습으로 성장할지 기대가 되는데요. GSV 홀딩스의 에듀테크 투자 전략과 함께 이 시장의 성장성도 관심 있게 보시면 좋겠습니다. 한국경제TV 글로벌 마켓 더 CEO, 저희가 준비한 순서는 여기까지입니다. 시청해주신 여러분 고맙습니다.